We're here at Alma College for the NCAA Division III third round playoff matchup with SUNY Cortland head coach Kurt Fitzpatrick. Kurt, congratulations. Excuse me, Coach. Congratulations on your success up to this point. Welcome to Alma. Would you like to start with an opening statement, or do you have any questions? Or shall I start with questions?
I can start with a quick opening statement.
Yep.
Very excited to be here in the quarterfinals. Two great football teams on the field tomorrow. We're very excited to be one of them. Grateful to be one of them. What a great experience for our student athletes. We're first time in Michigan. We're happy to be here and excited to play against a great opponent tomorrow.
I realize you probably made some post-game comments after your game against Grove City last week. Could you recap those for us a little bit, and tell me, when you were watching game film of that game, was there anything else that stuck out to you about how your team performed in that game?
Very exciting game. Came down to the wire. Grove City's an outstanding team. They're a very tough, physical team. They play a certain style. Very slow down, power running style. And so it was a difficult game to play from that standpoint. That's different than we play or are used to playing. So I was just proud of our guys. It was very up and down game, a lot of swings and momentum. We jumped out to an early lead. They battled back to tie it right before half. Then we kind of traded scores in the second half, and we got a 2-point conversion to go ahead and hold on to the lead. So just a very kind of a exciting back and forth game against a great Grove City team, very well coached. But yeah, kind of recapping the film, it was what we thought right there. It was a very close game. It was one that we had to battle, again, a different style. I think we only had 3 possessions the whole second half of that game. We could have 3 possessions in the first 8 minutes tomorrow, for all we know. So it was a different style than we're used to, but just glad to find a way to win by 1. That's what our motto is. You only have to win by 1 to advance. So we were obviously thrilled to do that and advance in this tournament.
2 tight games in a row for your team, no?
Yeah.
What does that say about the character of your team?
I wish we played a little better in both those games to win by a larger margin of victory, but winning close is better than losing close. We didn't play a ton of close games during the regular season, and so I think we played one close one and lost it to a very good Susquehanna team early in the year in week 3, and I think we learned a lot from that game. Learned a lot how we have to play in the fourth quarter in a tight game. And so I think our team has matured a lot throughout the season. I don't think we would have won those kind of close games at the beginning of the year. But like most teams' goal, we try to get better throughout the year. And I think in that aspect of performing under pressure in the fourth quarter of close games, I think we are better than we used to be. So hopefully we can put a 4-quarter game together. But winning close games is exciting. Like I said, better than losing them close. So happy we could win.
You said those 2 games weren't necessarily characteristic of the kind of games that your team likes to play. How can you, in this game against Alma, achieve a more characteristic result for your team?
Yeah, man, you just try to play the opponent that you're playing. Grove City offensively is they use the whole play clock. They wear it all the way down and try to limit your possessions. Obviously Alma doesn't do that. Endicott didn't do that. Most of the teams we play don't. But it's a football game. Good teams can kind of play. Can play different styles like boxers. You got to be able to play different ways and still find a way to win. So happy we were able to do that. Tomorrow's game, I think both teams are very good offensively. So we don't go as fast as Alma goes, but I think it'll just be a different style of game. I'll say more exciting. I think it can be a more exciting game tomorrow than last week. But that's kind of the way Grove City plays. So we got to control us. We obviously can't control our opponent. But I think tomorrow is a little bit more in what we're used to, the style that we're used to playing.
So I wanted to ask you about your defense and your offense, but I'll start with your defense because you just mentioned Alma. If I'm not mistaken, you said Alma. They don't hold the ball for a long time.
Yeah,
they go up and down the field. Yeah.
They don't waste any time.
Yeah. Can you give me some thoughts on your defense and how you might seek to slow down that offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think they pose a lot of problems offensively. They're very well balanced. Quarterback's a great player. It's difficult because you try to slow down the big play receiver at the same time you're trying to stop the run. That's very difficult to do. I think our offense is kind of similar. We have two receivers that are 1,000-yard receivers, and also a 1,000-yard rusher, and a quarterback that's rushed for almost 700 yards. Alma's very similar in what they do too. So it's difficult to do. You're trying to solve two problems at once, and that's hard to do. So I think just being prepared, and defensively you kind of got to pick your poison some plays, and you might pick a different poison the next play. That's why football is such a fun game. It's a chess match, and coaching matters, and play calling matters, and preparation matters. So we just tried to prepare our defense as well as we could to play first against the tempo, and then to try to solve all the problems that an offense like Alma's presents. So I think we're ready for it. Obviously, no football game is perfect, and they're a really good team. That's why they're here. I like to think we're really good too, and that's why we're here. So, I'm excited for our defense to play tomorrow. We got to tackle well and cover well. If you don't do that, it doesn't matter who you're playing or what you're doing. You got to get the ball carrier on the ground.
Then the flip side of that question, if I'm not mistaken, your offense is near the top of D3. You have a very highly regarded quarterback. At the same time, you're going up against a defense that is highly regarded in its own respect, near the top of D3 in takeaways and all sorts of other defensive statistics. Thoughts on that matchup in general? How can you come out on top?
Yeah, and the Alma defense is #1 in the country in takeaways. I think the important thing for us is to not, if they're going to take it away, make them take it. Don't give it. Don't give it to them. Make them take it. Some teams, I think, kind of gave some of those away. I think last week being two of them, poor quarterback play. So we've got to make sure that we make them earn everything that they get. That we're not just donating turnovers to them. that they've got to earn it. That being said, they're tremendous defense. The pass rush is outstanding. I'm not as familiar with names, but numbers, number 93 and 9 on the defensive line are tremendous football players. The linebackers, 0-44, awesome players. Opportunistic guys in the secondary that made some big plays against Mount Union last week. So, it's obviously they're a very opportunistic defense, and if you give them a chance to get their hands on the ball, they're gonna take it and try to score. So that's very important that we protect the ball, and it's important that they start with the ball from either a punt or a kickoff and not any other way. If we can do that, that's our best chance to compete in this game.
I don't have a specific question here, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention special teams. Can you give me some general thoughts on that? I'm thinking about the weather. It's supposed to be, probably nothing unlike what you're used to in North New York, but cold, wet, etc.
Sure.
Yeah. Thoughts on your special teams?
Oh yeah, our specs have been really good all year.
Yeah.
We think that's a real strength of our team. This weather is exactly what it's like in central New York at this time of year. So this is we had to plow our field this week for practice too. So it's we're specs is obviously an important part of the game. I think a catastrophic error on special teams could cost either team the game. So it's very important that we're sound and that we tackle really well in our kickoff and punt units, and try to spring a big one in our return game. It's hard to do. Alma's really good on specs as well. So obviously three phases, any one of which could win or lose you the game.
been a historic season for, in many respects, for your program. If you win this week, I believe that'll be the most wins of all time in your program. What would a win mean for your program? Apart from that,
we'd have some very excited alumni if we if we could win this game. Obviously, it's a tall task, and going to be a great football game. But yeah, if you win this game, like I told our team, you're breathing air that no Red Dragon team has ever breathed before. You've gone further than anyone ever. We've had football for 118 years. So it's our players understand that, but we always talk about see big, focus small. So we see the big picture, but are focused on the small details of tomorrow and trying to prepare and play against a very good team. But winning would obviously be great to be one of 4 teams left playing and practicing. It's a special thing.
Last question, unless either of these two gentlemen have one for you. One of the longest road trips, if I'm not mistaken, in your program's history. Does your focus change at all? And last week you're on the at home. Does your focus change at all in a road matchup versus a home one, especially such a long distance away?
Yeah, we spread it out over 2 days. So we left Thursday morning, stopped in Ohio, practiced in Ohio on Thursday afternoon. So we stayed overnight near Sandusky, and then drove in this morning to the University of Michigan to practice. That was a great experience for our players. So we chose to drive instead of a flight, so that our focus didn't have to change. As we tried to keep it, and I want our guys, on the bus, into a hotel, waking up in the morning, to make it like a regular overnight away trip for us, stuff that we're used to doing. I thought that was more beneficial to make it over 2 days and try to keep it more like normal than it was to, get into an airport and do all that stuff, which would have been a great experience. But we're not here to be tourists. We're here to try to win the game. So, I just wanted to try to make it as comfortable and familiar to our team as we could make it, to give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
Unless there's anything else.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for hospitality.
Yeah, appreciate it.